Hey guys, welcome to the Bath Fizz and Foam YouTube channel. I have never welcomed you guys to the channel. Why? I don't know why I haven't done that, but if, hello, welcome, hi. My name is Robin French Smith, and along with Amanda Aaron, we run Bath Fizz and Foam, and we make some really cool stuff for you guys. So this is WonderBar. If you don't know what WonderBar is, it is a bubble scoop, bubble bar, bubble frosting, bubble everything recipe that Amanda created in the summer of 2020. So if you have Amanda's book, Fun in the Tub, this recipe is not in that because this recipe is newer than that book. So yeah, we have people ask all the time, is this the same recipe? And it is not. So Amanda, Aaron, and I did some boot camps during 2020. And after one of the boot camps, I sort of said, yeah, this is fun and all, but those bubbles scoops that I did, or whatever bubble product I did, I was like, they're really never going to dry for me here in Houston. Like, they're pretty and stuff like that, but they just won't dry for me here in Houston. It's too humid. And Amanda was like, really? And I was like, yeah. So she actually turned around after that and came up with WonderBar. And I'm telling you, the minute that she sent it to me, I was excited about it because it's different. It's just different than other bubble bar recipes I've worked with. And I was amazed that it dried, and it dried super hard. It dried really quick. I had tried all kinds of recipes, free recipes, paid for recipes. And I could get kind of close, but just never, it would just never get where I needed it to be. And so this recipe literally changed everything for my soaping and bath bomb business, because before that, doing bubble frosting was just really time consuming and frustrating, and it was always a crapshoot. Like, I never knew exactly what was going to happen. Rolled bubble bars had been completely out of the question. Bubble scoops, maybe I could get away with. So anyway, all that's to say, this is an amazing recipe. If you haven't tried it, you should try it. But this video is to show you from start to finish all the things that WonderBar can do. So we talk about the fact that it can be pressed in a 3D press or like a moon press. We talk about the fact that it can be rolled as a bubble roll. We talk about the fact that it can be piped or that it can be used as a bubble scoop. But I want to show you from start to finish all 4 different ways of using it being used in one recipe, so you can see that I'm not joking you. I'm not joking you here. I'm telling you the truth. This is the truth, baby. This is really how it works. So basically, I'm just talking through the boring part. So I measured all my ingredients and I sifted all my ingredients. I feel like that's very important, to sift your ingredients. If you go back and watch when I was sifting, you can see even the things that should be really smooth, you expect to be really smooth. Baking soda gets lumps in it. We kind of know that. If you make bath bombs, you know that baking soda gets lumps in it and stuff. But there's other things like cornstarch that you really don't think about it having a lump, having lumps in it. And it does get lumps in it. So pretty much everything that I used had some kind of lump in it somewhere, right? So, and then I added my wet ingredients into the mix. And one of the things I really wanted to show you guys was how much time I actually take to mix the recipe. So I split it because I want some of it to be white. And just because I split it, I came back in and I'm mixing it again. And so you see how it went from crumbles to now it's kind of holding together in smooth chunks. It is not sticking to my glove. It is smooth. It is like Play-Doh, okay? It has a beautiful consistency to it. And and I'm using Red 27 Lake colorant right there. And I add my lakes straight in like that because the processing agent that we use is 91% rubbing alcohol. I'm gonna add some in, I think, or maybe not. If you give it enough time to blend, it'll all blend in and be fine. And yeah, so you can see it's smooth. It's the colors all the way in. Now, if your lakes, there's different properties, depending on who your supplier is. So if your lakes don't blend in super smooth like that, you can You can add them to, you could have added like a little bit of extra rubbing alcohol or something like that to kind of help it mix in. You just want to be careful with it. Now, in the actual recipe, we give you like a range of how much rubbing alcohol to use. For this demonstration, obviously that range is not going to be very useful, right? Because I can't tell you to use, 50 grams of it, and then I've portioned it out into 3 portions, and then each time I make an item, I'm even reducing the portions even smaller, right? So that range is still applicable. So if you have the recipe, that range that we give you is still applicable. The real goal for this video is actually to show you the texture, right? Yes, boo, that's the texture we're looking for. So for pressed bars, you want it to be smooth. It's like butter smooth. It is smooth. It's not really sticking to my gloves. It's maybe slightly crumbly, but if you squash it together, it comes into one big doughy ball, and it holds together, right? And when I smash it out of my mold, it's going to unmold smoothly and easily. Now that is not a detailed mold, right? That was a macaroon top. That was actually a Cada macaroon top, and I'll give you links to where I get these molds that I'm using from, but that was actually a Cada macaroon top, so there were no details in it. If you're using a detailed mold, or for example this vacuum form mold, now if I just press the mix into it like I have just obviously done, it's not really going to work. It's going to be sticky and it's going to be hard to get out. And now some people say to dust the inside of the mold with cornstarch, and I'm going to show you my solution. I feel like like when I've dusted the inside of the mold with cornstarch, then I get a bunch of cornstarch on my bubble bar, and it's going to settle into the low spots on the detailed mold, and then it's not going to be in the higher spots. So it's not even, right? It's not even across the face of the bubble bar that I'm working with. And I show you this technique also. I also show you this technique in the marshmallow bunny video that I posted the other day. So if you want to see it done again in more detail, several times, right, you can go back and watch that video. But this one is just kind of, I'm going over all the different techniques. So basically I shape it to kind of the basic shape of the mold I'm sticking it into, which is kind of a triangle shape, right? It's an ice cream cone. I'm rubbing the bubble dough smooth. You don't have to rub it smooth, but it's easier to work with. You're gonna have less wrinkles and folds and stuff in it. So I just kind of rub it smooth, pat it, just give it a little pat with some more cornstarch, and then I'm squashing it into there, and I will top it off with some more bubble dough and just squash it in there. And I'm going to show you how easily it's going to come out, and it's going to hold all those details now. So in just a minute, I'm going to show you that. So I trim the back off just to make sure it's fairly even on the back. And I'm going to tump it over, and I'm just going to slightly squeeze. I don't know if you could see, like I'm just kind of slightly squeezing the sides a little bit, tapping it, knocking it. You can see where it's starting to get lighter on the surface of the mold. That's where it's starting to release. So I know it's releasing. And voila, yes, there it is. And look how good that is. I mean, you get all the details and all the details of that little waffle and waffle cone. So you definitely can use definitely use vacuum form molds. You just got to get your technique down. This last little pressed version I'm going to show you is with a metal 10 mold. Now this is a kind of an antique parfait mold that I have sitting around, and I don't know, I just really like the shapes of these. Now I probably should have honestly, I probably should have like smoothed I probably should have smoothed out that lump, just kind of rubbed it on the table a little bit to smooth it out, because you can see when I unmolded that there are some cracks in it. But I did not do that, so it was whatever. And then I add my pink to that. Now I could have, and I probably should have as well, sprayed the inside. Oh my gosh, this is hard. Sprayed the inside where that white and that pink were going to be touching with some rubbing alcohol, because that pink looks just ever so slightly dry to me. It just, in retrospect, at the time I think it looked fine, so I don't know, it just didn't bother me, but it looked ever so slightly dry. And you can see that there's a wrinkle there, and also you can rub the wrinkles out. You can just smooth them out. So it's easier if you start off with a product that's smooth, right? That's why I smoothed the bar on the table. So it's easier if you start off with like that. But if it comes out and it has wrinkles and stuff like that, you can smooth it out. Totally can. Now I'm going to show you how to scoop it. So I've putting kind of one of each color into another bowl, and the scooping texture is pretty much the same as the pressing texture. If it's just slightly too crumbly for you, you can always add it just needs maybe a hair more of rubbing alcohol, but they're very similar. The textures are very similar, and you can see, look how nicely it came out. You just press your dough into a ice cream scooper, and you want one that has a trigger on the side, or a plunger, whatever that's called, to make sure that it can like swoosh it out or whatever. But that totally works, and it's pretty much the same texture. Now I'm adding a little bit more rubbing alcohol to it because I'm looking for the right consistency for rolling it. So the right consistency for pressing it is where it's staying together and it's not sticking to my glove and it's not really sticking to the bowl. The right consistency for rolling it is going to be where it is slightly sticking to the bowl, and you can see where it is just kind of sticking to the bowl. It's not coming apart. It's not, and I don't know, I say that and I don't want you to get it too wet. Don't get it too squishy and wet. You just want it to barely stick to the bowl, barely stick to your gloves. You're just looking for that slightly stickier consistency versus the pressing consistency. So and I'm just throwing all the leftovers from my scoop. I'm just throwing those into the mixing bowl, and I'm going to mix those up together because I'm not wasting that stuff. This is good stuff. I'm not going to waste it. So I have my bubble dough, and it's on some freezer paper, and I'm just going to press it out and squash it flat. And I'm just going to do a little teeny tiny mini roll. Just a little roll. And I'm not going to lie, Amanda holds the undisputed title of bubble roll queen as far as I'm concerned. Like, her bubble rolls are off the chain, okay? They're amazing, but mine are passable, okay? I'm being honest with you. I don't need you to tell me like, no, it's good. Like, no, it's okay. I don't need that. I'm just showing you that it's possible, okay? I'm not definitely like, don't be like, oh, this is technique. Yeah, this is primo. Like, no, don't worry about that. It's cool. But I'm showing you that it's possible. So there's the orange on top, and I'm just squashing it onto there. And so you can see like there are some cracks in it, and that's okay. What I actually show you is that after you roll it, if it's kind of janky looking and like got some texture issues on the top of the roll, you can just gently rub out those blemishes with some extra rubbing alcohol. And I don't know if that's something that you can do with other bubble bars. I don't know, because I've never had another bubble roll that like worked. So if it is something that you can do with other bubble bar mixes, I'd like to know that, so I don't keep touting it as like some amazing, like, whoa, you can do this. And then like people are like, oh no, you can do that with every bubble roll. I don't know if you can do that with other bubble roll mixtures, but you can do it with WonderBar, which I think is awesome. So I'm showing you like, oh, janky texture, and then you just rub it gently to smooth it out. Now if it was too soft, I could have waited. Number one, I could have waited to cut it so it's not so squashed, And I could have waited to kind of smooth out the cracks or the blemishes. You can definitely do that with WonderBar. I would say like up to a day or two after it's made. Once it's all the way hard, it's a lot harder to kind of get those edge, like those things smooth looking. But when it's pretty fresh, like you can come back in an hour or two and do that, and it's gonna be fine. So for the final WonderBar application, we're gonna look at frosting. Now for me, this was the biggest, I think, of all the different applications of WonderBar. And we didn't originally know that you could even do this with WonderBar. This is like something that we added later as like, oh hey, you can also do this. And we didn't originally know that you could do this with WonderBar. But frosting has probably been the number one thing that was the biggest revelation for me when it comes to WonderBar. So because you use, if you're a bath bomb maker, you use bubble frosting for all kinds of things. You just as like a small embellishment onto bath bombs. If you do the donut bath bombs that have the toy on it, you're going to use WonderBar for that. If you want to do bubble cakes or macaroons or anything like that that's going to have just that extra little bit of bubble frosting, you're going to really want that. So I just added more rubbing alcohol, and this is the texture. It kind of looks like buttercream, but it's actually more like mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes bad. No, we don't want no mashed potatoes. We want frosting. We want it to be smooth and just buttery soft. It's gonna just pipe like a dream. I'm telling you, it just comes out of the piping bag and is like, whew, Lord, it is good. It feels good. It looks good to pipe with. It is smooth and it's just amazing. So and this is just something that over time I've learned what texture I'm looking for. So that is the texture. Like people ask sometimes, like, how much rubbing alcohol do I need to add? You need to add enough until it looks like frosting. And if you put it in a piping bag and it doesn't pipe easily, like if you're having to oh God, I tried to do one the other night. I'm doing some different versions to kind of see what can happen with it, but I did one the other night and I literally almost broke my wrist. It was so difficult to pipe out. That is not the texture that you're looking for. Okay, you're looking for it to pipe smooth, easily, it's gonna pipe just like cake frosting. These sprinkles I'm adding are soap sprinkles. They're not made of soap, but they are cosmetic sprinkles. They are not edible sprinklers. They're not edible sprinklers. They are cosmetic, and that's a recipe I'm also working on. I'm kind of waiting to see how it performs in summer before we release that recipe, but that is not food sprinkles. So look there, you guys. Oh my goodness, look how good it is. And the thing is, this all will be dry within within days. This will be dry within, the scoops and the pressed bars will be dry the quickest because they have the least amount of rubbing alcohol that needs to evaporate out of them. The rolled bars will be next, and then the frosting takes the longest to dry, and by longest I mean maybe 4 days. Okay, it does not take very long to dry, and then wham bam, thank you ma'am, you have some beautiful stuff that you can work with. And there you go. There is the finished collection right there, everything all together. You guys can see how beautiful it looks. If you want to know more about WonderBar, you can find the recipe on our website, bathfizzandfoam.com. You can also visit us in our Facebook group, Bath Fizz and Foam, Bath Bomb, and Bubble Bar Support Group. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button, and happy making.